Okay, example 12.2, a pricing problem for Procter & Gamble. P&G's demand curve for monthly sales like this. Assuming that P&G's competition face the same demand condition, with what price should you enter the market and how much profit should you expect to earn? The information to decide this is illustrated in table 12.2. So from here we know that $1.40 is the price at which your competitors are doing the best they can. So it is a Nash equilibrium. So now look at table 12.1. If competitor set its price $1.10, best response of P&G is to set its price at $1.40, right? Because the loss is minimized. Negative profit is minimized at this $1.40. Also now, if a competitor set its price at $1.20, next column, then what is best response for P&G? To set its price $1.40 again, the loss minimized, right? And third column, P&G's best response when competitor's firm set its price $1.30. Same to $1.40. P&G's best strategy is $1.40, like this. Okay? Both firms set its price $1.40. Next, if competitor set its price $1.40, then P&G's best response is $1.40. Right? If competitive firm set its price $1.60, then best strategy for P&G is to set its price $1.40 again. Right? Same thing happens when competitors set its price $1.70 or $1.50. Simply talking, dominant strategy for P&G is set its price $1.40. Okay? We can see this. So in this equilibrium, you and your competitors each make a profit $12,000 per month, or 12 in this table 12.2, right? And price, equilibrium price, Nash equilibrium price should be equal to $1.40. Okay? If you could collude with your competitors, you could make a larger profit. You'd all agree to charge $1.50. Then profit expanded to $20,000, right? Quite larger than earlier firm's profit of $12,000. Okay? Okay. Slide number 28. Competition versus collusion, the prisoner's dilemma. In our example, there are two firms, each of which has fixed cost $20 and zero variable cost. Same to this one. Okay? And we calculate Nash equilibrium like this, right? Individual demand curve is like this. Then we solve. Nash equilibrium is P1 star, P2 star is $4, Q1 star, Q2 star is 8, and profit is 12 or 12,000, like this. Okay? Then also we calculate the collusive outcome. 이거 지웠네. Collusive outcome we calculated here, right? Collusive outcome is P1 star, P2 star was $6, right? P1 star or P2 star $6, and Q1 star, Q2 star also 6. Am I correct? 12, 6, 6. So P1 star, P2 star 6. Then Q1 star, Q2 star was 이게 얼마였지? So then pi 1 star, pi 2 star is equal to price P1, Q1 is 6, right? Minus fixed cost is $20, right? Then that is 16, right? that was collusive outcome, this one. So that is collusive outcome. So we already calculate in this example Nash equilibrium, price competition with differentiated products, this one, right? And collusive outcome, this one, and profit is this one, and this one respectively. Okay? Now think about the next case is firm ones, right? That is collusive outcome. This one is better than this Nash equilibrium, right? This one is better than this for both firms. But two firms have an incentive to renegade their agreement to set each price $6, right? To increase their profit, right? Oh, okay, from here, and firm one. Now, Nash equilibrium is here, right? So P1 star, P2 star is $4, right? And collusive outcome is $6. Now then what happened? From anyway, that is Nash equilibrium. That means very stable equilibrium. Best it can do, right? That is a best sum solution for two firms. But two firms have an incentive to set higher price to $4 now, right? If price increase, then there is a possibility that increase profit of this firm, right? So the firm one, now third case, firm one, increase its price $4 to $6. P1 is originally at this Nash equilibrium, P1 is $4, now increase its price to $6. And firm 2 just stick on earlier some equilibrium price. So P2 is 6, P2 is 4, P1 is 6. Then what happened? Right? Then from here, if P1 is 6, P1 is 6, P2 is 4, then Q1 is what happened? Right? Q1 is 12 minus 2, P1 is 6 instead of 4. Right? And P2 is 4. Then what happened? Q1 is 4. Right? Then what happened in Q2? Q2 is 12 minus 2, P2 is $4, P2 is $4, and P1 is $6, right? Then 12 minus 8, 4 left, 4 plus 6, 10. Then Q1 star is 4, right? So third case is P1 is 6, P2 is 4. Then Q1 is 4, Q2 is 10, right? Then what happened? Each firm's profit. Then firm 1's profit is equal to 6 multiplied by 4 minus fixed cost 20, right? Then profit is $4, right? How about profit of firm? Stick on each price to $4. This one is equal to P2 is $4, but Q2 is 10, right? Minus $20 of fixed cost. Then what happened? 20 left, right? Profit of firm 2 is 20. Okay, can you understand? Actually, firm 1 higher its price to increase firm 1's profit. But result is just the opposite. Firm 1's profit is smaller than this, right? And firm 2's profit is increased to 20 from 12, right? So think about this case. Firm 1 want higher profit. So raise its price to enjoy higher profit than this one. But the result is just the opposite. In other words, firm 1 have no incentive to increase its price, to increase its profit. Right? In the sense, this is stable Nash equilibrium. Can you understand? Now think about the other case. Firm 1 stick on this price, Nash equilibrium price, and firm 2 increase its price to $6 to enjoy this kind of profit. Then what is the result? The result should be equal to pi 1 is 20, pi 2, profit of firm 2 is 4. Can you understand? So anyway, from here we know that Nash equilibrium is very stable outcome. Okay, that is explained in slide number 28. So if firm 1 charges $6 and the firm 2 charge only $4, firm 2's profit will increase to $20, and it will do so at the expense of firm 1's profit, which will fall to $4. Non-cooperative game in which negotiation and enforcement of binding contracts are not possible. Okay, so that slide number 28, payer metrics. Table showing profit to each firm gives its decision and the decision of its competitor. Okay, so from this outcome, right? Anyway, this is a case, and we calculate this kind of outcome, right? From using this one, we can calculate the payer metrics, right? Firm 1's here, firm 1 has two strategies, right? Charge P1 is $4, P1 is $6. Two strategy, right? Two strategy. Similarly, firm 2 have two strategy. Set its price. P2 is $4 and P2 is $6, right? So two strategy. Then what is the payer metrics? Both firms charge $4. Profit of firm and firm 2 is 12. So 12, right? Firm 1's profit, firm 2's profit, right? Two firms charge $6 simultaneously. That's what happened. That is $16,000 or $16. That is profit. If firm 1 increases its price to $6, whereas firm 2 stick on its price to $4, then what happened? Firm 1's profit is just 4. Firm 2's profit is 20, right? And this firm 1 stick on $4, but firm 2 raise its price to $6, then what happened? 24. That is payer metrics, right? Table 12.3, pricing game, right? The prisoner's actually this is a prisoner's dilemma game. Game theory example. So easiest some game result. Game theory example in which two prisoners must decide separately whether to confess to a crime. If a prisoner confesses, he will receive a lighter sentence, and his accomplice will receive a heavier one. But if neither confesses, sentences will be lighter than if both confess. Okay, prisoner's dilemma. Okay, so that is the example for this, and you already studied this one repeatedly in Introduction to Economics and International Trade and Political Science and something, right? So I'd like to skip number 30, slide number 31, right? So in our earlier example, right? So example 12.3, what was this? That was slide number 27, I think, right? Example 12.2 in slide number 27. Using this one, we can construct example 12.3's payer metrics, right? And that is table 12.5. Okay, so same thing happened actually, like this. Okay, now we go slide number 32. The prisoner's dilemma doom oligopolistic firms to aggressive competition and low profit? Not necessarily. Although our imaginary prisoners have only one opportunity to confess, most firms set output and price over and over again, continually observing their competitors' behavior and adjusting their own accordingly. Actually, that is a repeated game. This allows firms to develop reputations from which trust can arise. As a result, oligopolistic coordination and cooperation can sometimes prevail. Cooperative game, different from earlier example of non-cooperative game. Okay. Okay, price rigidity. Price rigidity, a characteristic of oligopolistic market by which firms are reluctant to change prices even if costs or demands change. That is price rigidity. So because of price rigidity, we can construct the model of kinked demand curve model. Demand curve is kinked, right? That is kinked demand curve model. That happens because of price rigidity. Oligopoly model in which each firm faces a demand curve kinked at the currently prevailing price. At higher price than this currently prevailing price, demand is very elastic, right? Demand is very elastic. Higher price, demand is very elastic. In other words, other firms do not follow this suit. Whereas at lower price, it is inelastic. If one firm lowers its price, other firms follow this suit. So demand is inelastic. Okay? So look at figure 12.7. So kinked demand curve. So like this, Q price, right? And so like this, that is demand curve, right? The prevailing price is here, P star, right? P star. Okay? And then, so at this P star, if higher price than this prevailing price, demand curve is inelastic, right? If you higher each price or your competitors raise each price, nobody follow this suit. Okay, so like this, right? So very elastic. Nobody, if one firm raises price, nobody follow this suit. So just remaining its price. Okay, so demand is very elastic. If one firm lower its price than this current prevailing price, everybody lower its price. So inelastic demand curve. Can you understand? Then from here we can graph marginal revenue curve. Marginal revenue curve is shaped like this, right? Here, marginal revenue curve is like this. That is marginal revenue curve from this area, but here like this and like this. So we said kinked demand curve because kinked at this point, right? Each firm believes that if it raises price above the current price P star, none of its competitors will follow suit. So it will lose most of its sales. Each firm also believes that if it lowers its price, everyone will follow suit. And its sales will increase only to the extent that market demand increase. As a result, the firm's demand curve D is kink that price P star. And its marginal revenue curve is discontinuous at that point. So discontinuous at this point. Okay? If marginal cost increase, so original marginal cost is here. Marginal cost is here originally. Then profit maximization conditions and marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. So you produce Q star, right? And at this Q star, price is equal to P star, right? Price decided in this demand curve. Demand curve is average revenue curve, right? It's equal to price curve, simply talking. So price is here. Now marginal cost increase like this. Then what happens? Marginal cost increase. Then price should be changes. And production changes. But that kind of thing doesn't happen. Marginal cost increase to like this. Then what happens? Marginal cost equal to marginal revenue when you produce same Q2 star and charge same P star, current prevailing price. Okay? If marginal cost increase from MC to MC dash, the firm will still produce the same output level Q star and charge the same price P star. Okay? Price signaling and price leadership. Price signaling is a form of implicit collusion instead of explicit collusion, in which a firm announces a price increase in the hope that other firms will follow suit. That is price signaling, right? And more stronger one is this one, price leadership. Pattern of pricing in which one firm regularly announces price changes that other firms then match. Other firms follow this suit. That is price leadership. Okay? In some industries, a large firm might naturally emerge as a leader, with other firms deciding that they are best off just matching the leader's prices rather than trying to undercut the leader over each other. Price leadership can also serve as a way of oligopolistic firms to deal with reluctance to change prices. So oligopolistic firms are reluctant to change price, or reluctance that arises out of fear of being undercut or locking the bar, right? So if one firm increases price, then other firms don't follow this suit. Then sales decrease greatly, rocking the boat. Okay? Slide number 35 is an example of price leadership and price rigidity in commercial banking. So prime rate versus corporate bond rate. Corporate bond rate have lots of fluctuation, right? And prime rate in the United States is like this. The prime rate is the rate that major banks charge larger corporate customers for short-term loans. It changes only infrequently because banks are reluctant to undercut one another. When a change does occur, it begins with one bank and other banks quickly follow suit. The corporate bond rate is the return on long-term corporate bonds because these bonds are widely traded. This rate fluctuates with market conditions. Example. And example 12.5, the price of college textbook. So you read for yourself, right? Anyway, college textbook is featured by oligopoly, okay? And 37. Implications of prisoner's dilemma for oligopolistic pricing, the dominant firm model. This is also very important. Dominant firm model. Dominant firm. What is dominant firm? Firm with a large share of total sales, total demand, that sets price to maximize profit. So dominant firm decides price of the market to maximize this dominant firm's profit, but taking into account the supply response of smaller firms. Okay? consideration, after considering the responses of smaller firms. Okay? That is dominant firm. Price setting by a dominant firm, figure 12.9. Right? The dominant firm sets price and other firms sell all they want at that price. Price decided by a dominant firm. The other firms sell all they want, what they want at that given that price. Dominant firm's demand curve is the difference between market demand and the supply of fringe firms. The dominant firms produce a quantity QD at the point where its marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. The corresponding price is P star. At this price, fringe firms sell QF so that total sales QT. So, okay, I'd like to graph this one. Okay, I'd like to use this one. It is slide number 37, isn't it? Okay, now price and quantity, right? The dominant total demand is like this. That is total demand, market demand or total demand by firm, dominant firm plus fringe firms, total demand, right? And supply of firms is like supply of fringe firms, small firms. Right? So now we say the price. This price is P1. P1 is where total demand, right, satisfied by fringe firms supply. Okay? And at this P2, lower than P2. Lower than P2. Fringe firms at this lower price, fringe firms do not want to supply, right, at the market. Can you understand? That is supply. Then, dominant firms demand, that is DD. DD is equal to total demand minus SF. Okay? So from here, we can graph total demand. At this price, total demand is equal to 0 because TD is equal to SF at this P1. Lower than P2, then what happens? Lower than P2, right? SF is equal to 0. So total demand, right? Total demand is also same to dominant demand, right? That is total demand is equal to demand. Okay? So we connect this one, we can get this one. That is dominant firm's demand, DD, right? Total demand minus SF, then like this. Can you understand? Right? From here, we can draw a marginal revenue curve. Marginal revenue of dominant firm, like this, right? Marginal revenue of dominant firm and supply. So marginal cost curve of demand. So dominant firm. Dominant firm's marginal cost curve is lower than SF, marginal cost of fringe firm, because more efficient. Right? Then now think about profit maximization of cost when marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. When producing Q star. Right? Then what is price? Equilibrium price. So that is total demand curve or price curve of dominant firm. Right? Charge this price. That is P star. Okay, so P star is decided like this. MRD is equal to MCD at this Q star. Then price is P star decided by dominant form. At this price, fringe supply is this one, right? QF, right? Fringe supply is this one, QF. Fringe form supply this amount of good at the market, right? And dominant form, then the other is dominant form, this one, right? So that is QT, right? That is QT. Can you, okay? That is illustrated in figure 12.9. That is dominant forms model, right? Should be careful for this. This one is repeatedly application in lots of issues, right? And using this dominant form model, we can explain cartels. Why some cartels are successful and the other cartels are not so successful, right? That is section 6 cartels. Producers in cartel explicitly agree to cooperate each selling price and output level, right? Here, important word is explicitly agree to cooperate in setting price and output level, explicitly, okay? If enough producers adhere to cartel's agreement, and if market demand is sufficiently inelastic, the cartel may drive prices well above competitive level, right? So important thing is market demand should be inelastic, sufficiently inelastic. Then cartel should be successful. That is the case of OPEC, right? Oil market, demand for oil is featured by inelastic demand curve, right? Cartels are open international, while U.S. antitrust laws prohibit American companies from colluding. Those of other countries are much weaker and are sometimes poorly enforced, right? Furthermore, nothing prevents countries or companies owned or controlled by foreign governments from forming cartels. For example, the OPEC cartel is an international agreement among oil-producing countries which has succeeded in raising world oil prices above competitive level. Right? Cartel price is quite higher than competitive level, competitive price or marginal cost. Okay. Condition for cartel success of cartel. Number one, a stable cartel organization must be formed whose members agree on price and production levels and then adhere to that agreement. Right? Should be, there is no renegator, right? Renegation, right? That is first one is stability, okay? The second condition, and maybe more important than that, is the potential for monopoly power. Potential for monopoly power. In chapter 10, we already studied the potential for monopoly power. Price, marginal cost, markup over price. Right? Price over marginal cost. Even if a cartel can solve its organization problem in first, number one, there will be little room to raise price if it faces highly elastic demand curve. Then, if it faces highly elastic demand curve, those kind of cartels should be not so successful at all. Okay? Analysis of cartel pricing. Cartel pricing can be analyzed by using the dominant form model discussed earlier. We apply this model to two cartels. The OPEC oil cartel, that is success case, and the CPEC, Cooper, exporting Cooper, we already studied in earlier chapter, right? CPEC copper cartel, this is a case of failures because copper is inelastic, featured by inelastic demand curve. Elastic demand curve, right? And oil market featured by inelastic demand curve, right? This will help us understand why OPEC was successful in raising price, while CPEC was not, right? So, analyzing OPEC, figure 2.10. TD, right? For example, there is a, now think about, in this example, what is a perfectly competitive price, right? Demand is equal to marginal cost, right? Marginal cost. So demand is equal to marginal cost. Okay, this is not a good example. Now think about OPEC case. I'd like this one again. Right? OPEC case is like this. Right? Inelastic demand curve. Inelastic demand curve like this. Right? And supply by fringe forms is like that is SF. Right? Then this one is P1. Okay, that is P2. Then dominant forms demand curve is the gap between the two, starting from here and lower than price, like this. So this one is demand by OPEC, okay, or dominant forms demand, okay, and supply. Marginal cost of OPEC is like this, right? MCD, right? Then marginal cost is equal to, also we can draw marginal revenue curve. Marginal revenue curve is like this, right? Then marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost when you're producing this amount. For example, Q OPEC, right? And charge this kind of price. That is P OPEC, right? Price is very expensive. Competitive price is equal to demand equal to marginal cost. Demand is equal to marginal cost, right? Demand, PC, where is PC? Demand is equal to marginal cost, so this one. Price is this one, that is P star, okay? The gap between the two is a higher price, right? And OPEC. That is explained in figure 12.10. Okay, TD is the total world demand curve for oil. That is TD. That is TD, right? And SC is the competitive supply curve by non-OPEC. SC is competitive country supply, right? Non-OPEC supply curve. OPEC's demand, the OPEC is the difference between the two, the OPEC. The OPEC is this, that is the OPEC, right? Because both total demand and competitive supply are inelastic. OPEC's demand is inelastic. OPEC's profit maximizing quantity Q OPEC is found at the intersection of its marginal revenue and marginal cost curve. At this quantity, OPEC charges P star or P OPEC, right? P OPEC is this one, right? If OPEC producers had not cartelized, price would be PC, where OPEC's demand and marginal cost curve intersect. OPEC's demand and marginal cost intersect. That is this one, right? That is slide number 40 and slide number 41. Then, what happened in CPEC case? That is OPEC case. And CPEC case is this one. CPEC case is demand is like this, right? Total demand is like this, inelastic. Now, elastic, right? Total demand is like this. And fringe form supply is like this. For example, SC, right? Then we know at this price, P1, P2, right? Then from here we can derive OPEC's, CPEC's demand curve. We're starting from here, right? And here. So CPEC's demand curve is like this, and like this, like this. That is CPEC demand curve. Kinked at this point, like this, right? And marginal cost of OPEC is like this. That is marginal cost of OPEC, right? Marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is equal to like this. Marginal revenue, marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost at this point. So that is CPEC's production. So charge this price, right? That is PCPEC, right? If market is perfectly competitive, this one is equal to this one. So this one is equal to marginal cost is equal to demand, right? So almost same, right? So price is equal to like this, right? So the gap between the two is very small compared to OPEC case. That is illustrated here. TD is the total demand for copper, and SC is the competitive supply. CPEC's demand, the CPEC is the difference between the two. Both total demand and competitive supply are relatively elastic. So CPEC's demand is elastic, and the CPEC has very little monopoly power. So demand and marginal cost, right? And price very low, right? So, okay, now next slide. As an example of OPEC and CPEC illustrates, successful cartelization requires two things. First, the total demand for goods must not vary price elastic. Second, either the cartel must control nearly all the world's supply, or if it does not, the supply of non-cartel producers must not be price elastic. So now think about, in this case, a fringe form supply at this price is this one, right? CPEC supply is almost same or smaller than non-competitive supply, right? That is number two. Most international commodity cartels have failed because of few world market meet both conditions. Okay. So example 12.6, the U.S. example, right? Okay, the other examples are usually United States one. So how many minutes I can use? Okay, so in the United States or other developed countries already emphasized, so this kind of thing is really important, right? Cartelization should be punished very severely, okay? And so think about the cost of cartel, right? And these two examples in the United States explain that you have to consider benefit from cartel and cost from cartel. Usually cost have greater than benefit, right? Then should be punished by a fairly traded committee or commission. Okay? Okay, I'd like to stop chapter 12 here.